Today's a special day. I start my exploration of the different decans of the Zodiac. I've done a lengthy video explaining the process that I'm going to be going through, and I'm going to put a link to that below so you can check that out and get a little bit deeper understanding. If you're new to astrology and want to first acclimate yourself or learn a little bit, I've got a 6-part introduction to astrology course available on my website, along with an hour of tutoring. Check it out. There's a link below as well. If you like the video, like and subscribe. So let's start. The very first 10 degrees of the zodiac is the first 10 degrees of the sign of Aries. Aries is the sign of a ram. It's the fire sign. All fire signs are about inspiration. It's a masculine sign, and so it has more of a yang energy of moving out into the world. One of the things that's going to differentiate my approach to the decans is I'm including not just past images around the decans that come out of traditional and Hellenistic astrology, as well as the tarot deck of the Rider-Waite tarot deck, which is a very typical tarot deck to use. I'm going to be incorporating Rachel Pollack's The Sacred Tribe deck as part of my work, because as I've started the process of exploring the decans, I can really see the one-sided nature of the work of the people that I've followed. As much as I love the work of Austin Coppock, I recommend it really highly as I start to go deeper into the process of exploring this for myself. I see that a lot of the images and pictures that have come up with the decans are one-sided in the sense that they come from the perspective of the ego, the perspective of what it is to be a human being trying to survive in this world. Really important for all of us as human beings to be able to survive and thrive and to use our ego for that, right? But there's another piece to life, which is the more introverted, self-reflective quality of the decan. And I believe that really comes out in some of the images that Rachel Pollack shares in her Shining Tribe decan. So I'll be folding that in, and you'll see as I go along, maybe I'll do a little comparison between my work and my thoughts and those of others that have explored the decans. So Aries, the sign of the ram, breaking through. We're going to find out that each decan of the zodiac is considered to be ruled by 2 different planets, because there's 2 systems that explore the decans. And for Aries, the 2 rulers are Mars and Mars, because both systems agree, this is a little rare, that Mars is the planet responsible for this part of the zodiac. This makes sense because it's the very beginning of the zodiac. It's like a need to break through into the world. We're really going to see that as part of the energy of this particular decan, that Mars beginning. If you think about even the beginning of life to break into the world, when somebody's born, there's some blood and guts and pain involved, right? So there's a real Mars quality of that baby wanting to emerge into the world. Let's hold on to that as part of our understanding of this particular decan. So let's start with the traditional understanding of Aries 1. We can look at the Rider-Waite card, which is the 2 of Wands. We see here Alexander the Great with the earth in his hand, looking out and thinking about what can I conquer next. But as Rachel Pollack notes in her book, The 78 Degrees of Wisdom, one of my favorite tarot books, a really deep read if you get a chance to buy it. He has a little bit of a bored look on his face. And as Austin Coppock speaks of this decan, he talks about it being about conquering and defeating and coming up against one's limitations at times. That can be some of the energy of this beginning decan. Winners and losers. Now that's the dualistic notion of this decan, that it's about winners and losers, the dominant and the people that dominate, right? In fact, the Thoth deck calls this Dominion, I believe, is the Lord of Dominion is the name of this particular 10 degrees of the zodiac, or the card associated with it in the Thoth deck. So we really get that patriarchal vibe, right? And Austin Coppock notes that like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates both have their sect light, which is the moon for them, in this decan. And, they're highly successful. They've been highly successful in the corporate world. But to offer another perspective, we can flesh this decan out from the standpoint of our inner light, not the part of us that wants to achieve and make sure we survive in the world, but more the part of us that wants to express our light, our deep individuality, exist, right? This decan does have to do with wanting to exist and to establish oneself, but we can think about existing from the standpoint of being our unique selves and making a place for ourselves in the world. I do remember that, when Austin Coppock talks about this, I thought this was so great. He talks about the energy of this decan being like you have to fight your way through the jungle and clear the trees to make sure you can live in the world, right? Makes total sense, the very beginning of the zodiac with that Mars domination. And also, we could look at the invitation to connect with something deeper than ourselves, to being drawn into the world as we take our first breath. We see here in Rachel Pollack's Shining Tribe, Two of Trees card, that expression. She calls, instead of using wands, she uses the idea of images from nature. And so she chose trees for the fiery energy of Aries, Sagittarius, and help me out, Leo, right? Those are all the fire signs. Anyway, the Two of Trees, if we see here a woman opening her arms, opening her heart to the sun, the light, to be inspired, right? All the fire signs are about inspiration. And so bringing in a connection of being led, of being alive, but being alive in a way where we're listening. We're not imagining we can dominate the universe, but perhaps we can work with nature to accomplish something, to shine our light in the world. So we've got Steve Jobs, that Apple guy, I think, and Bill Gates. They both have these prominent Aries 1 placements, but how about we look for another figure? Barbra Streisand, a famous musician. And when I learned she had Aries 1 rising, I thought of her song, Don't Rain on My Parade from Funny Girl. I'm going to share the lyrics here so we can explore them a little bit and think about some of the themes of Aries 1 that we can see arise with these particular lyrics, right? So she starts off, don't tell me not to live, right? That's the quality of I need to exist. And, I have a lot of work mostly with female clients. I think women are really open to astrology because sometimes we're kind of discouraged from accepting our own reality. And so astrology can be this feedback loop that helps us understand and trust that inner heart wisdom of needing to express ourselves in the world, right? So don't tell me not to live. And then she goes on and the lyrics go on, but some other really interesting lines. Don't tell me not to fly, right? I need to be me. Don't rain on my parade, obviously, but then there's also at least I didn't fake it, right? So there's a quality of Aries 1 that also calls for authenticity. If we're being joined from a heart standpoint, being inspired to exist and occupy space in the world, there's a degree to which we want to do that from an authentic standpoint. And then I love this line, I gotta fly once, I gotta try once, only can die once, right, sir? So there's also, obviously, with Mars, we've got courage. We've got to take risks, right? And this fits in nicely with some of what Austin Coppock says about, there can be a quality of winning and losing or trying. There's at least this courageous quality, or not at least, but there's a courageous quality to Aries where it's going to try something, even though it might fail. Unfortunately, sometimes the ego sees failure as, the ego sees not being able to accomplish what we imagined as failure instead of understanding from the self standpoint and a bigger standpoint that we can never achieve anything if we don't try, right? You got to try. You might fall on your face, but then you try again, and this is how we learn. I'm going to stop share with that. And I'm just going to take a moment to make sure I've covered everything I want to with Aries. One, like I said, I am going to do, or I hope I said at the beginning of the video, I might not have. I'm going to next year, beginning of in March of 2026, do little shorts on YouTube on each planet in each of the decans that'll help you if you want to compare that with your chart. But for now, you can use this video and the videos that I'm going to be doing in the future. You can pull up your birth chart and just do a little riff. If you understand the basics of each of the planet meanings, you can do some association for yourself to understand the meaning of what it might mean to have, for example, Venus, the goddess of love, in Aries 1. You know, the goddess is about beauty and harmony. So there might be a way in which you want to assert yourself around those topics in your life. The goddess is also about receptive relationship with other people. Sometimes I think people with Venus and Aries 1 might be a little bit more assertive about getting what they want in relationships. So yeah, I think that's a good beginning. Check out, I'm going to always have the next video below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I look forward to seeing you in the next videos. If you do have a resonance with Aries 1, if you find out your rising or some important planet is there and want to share your experiences in the comments, I would love to hear it. That's the